Learn English through story. The Door in the Tree. Ethan loved exploring the forest near his house. Every weekend, he went on adventures, hoping to find something new. One Saturday morning, he came across a giant oak tree with a small wooden door at its base. He had walked past this tree many times, but he had never seen the door before. Curious, he reached out and turned the tiny golden handle. To his surprise, the door swung open, revealing a spiral staircase leading down into the ground. Ethan hesitated, then took a deep breath and stepped inside. The staircase led to a glowing tunnel filled with floating lanterns. At the end of the tunnel stood a tiny man with a long white beard. "Welcome, traveler," the man said. "You have found the hidden world of Eldoria." Ethan's eyes widened. "A hidden world?" The old man nodded. "A place of magic, but also great danger. Only the bravest explorers may enter." Ethan grinned. "I'm ready." As he stepped forward, the tunnel shimmered, and suddenly, he was no longer underground. He was standing in a land filled with flying castles, rainbow waterfalls, and talking animals. A fox wearing a tiny hat approached him. "Ah, human. It's been a long time since we've had one of those." Ethan laughed. "This is amazing." And so, his greatest adventure began. The Cat Who Could Paint the Sky. Mia's cat, Whiskers, was no ordinary cat. Every morning, he would disappear and return covered in different colors: blue, pink, yellow, even gold. Mia had no idea where he went or why he always came back looking like a rainbow. One night, she decided to follow him. She waited until Whiskers slipped out of the window, then grabbed a flashlight and crept after him. To her surprise, Whiskers ran toward the hill at the edge of town. When she reached the top, she gasped. The night sky was empty, no stars, no moon, just darkness. Then, Whiskers leaped into the sky. With a flick of his tail, he painted a streak of silver across the darkness. Another flick, and tiny stars appeared. Mia watched in awe as Whiskers painted the entire night sky with his paws. "Whiskers, you're magical," she whispered. The cat looked down at her and purred. "You humans always need a little bit of wonder," he said. Mia smiled. "I promise I won't tell anyone. But can I help?" Whiskers nodded. "Only if you believe in magic." Mia picked up a glowing paintbrush that had appeared beside her. With a deep breath, she dipped it into the sky and drew a tiny, twinkling star. The Kingdom of Forgotten Dreams. Noah had always had wild dreams, flying over cities, talking to dragons, visiting candy planets. But lately, he hadn't been dreaming at all. Every night, when he closed his eyes, there was nothing but darkness. One evening, he heard a whisper, "Noah, come find us." Startled, he sat up in bed. The whisper came from his closet. Slowly, he opened the door and instead of clothes, he saw a staircase leading into a glowing world. He stepped through and found himself in a beautiful kingdom floating on clouds. Towers made of crystal stretched into the sky, and strange creatures, half human, half stars, floated past him. An old woman with silver hair approached. "Noah, you have arrived just in time. This is the Kingdom of Forgotten Dreams." "Forgotten dreams?" Noah asked. "Yes. Every dream that people forget ends up here. And lately, fewer and fewer dreams have been coming. The world is fading." Noah suddenly understood. His dreams had stopped because he had stopped believing in them. He closed his eyes and thought of the best dream he could imagine. a land of flying bicycles, dancing elephants, and books that could tell their own stories. When he opened his eyes, the world around him lit up. New dreams appeared, filling the sky with colors. The old woman smiled. "You have saved us." Noah grinned. That night, when he returned to his bed, he dreamed again for the first time in a long time. The Boy Who Traded Shadows. Lucas had a strange ability. He could trade shadows. He discovered this talent one afternoon when he noticed that his shadow wasn't following him properly. Instead of copying his movements, it waved at him. Startled, he stepped closer. His shadow whispered, "Do you want a new one? I can trade." Curious, Lucas nodded. Suddenly, his shadow shifted, stretching and reshaping itself. He looked down and gasped. He no longer had his own shadow. Instead, he now had the shadow of a wolf. First, it was exciting. When he walked, the wolf shadow padded alongside him. When he howled, the shadow's mouth moved too. But that night, something strange happened. His shadow started moving on its own. It paced around his room, restless. Then, when he tried to sleep, it jumped at him, making his heart race. The next morning, exhausted, Lucas rushed back to where he first traded shadows. "I want my own shadow back," he called. The whisper returned, "You can't just take it back. You must learn something first." Lucas frowned. "Learn what?" The voice replied, "Your shadow is a part of you. Stays with you, no matter what. You tried to change yourself for fun, but now you see, some things are best left as they are." Lucas closed his eyes, realizing the truth. He had been so eager for something new that he didn't appreciate what he already had. When he opened his eyes, his shadow was back to normal. But from that day on, he never took it, or anything about himself, for granted again. Lesson: sometimes, the things we wish to change about ourselves are the things that make us who we truly are. Story 5. The Girl Who Wrote the Future. Emma loved writing stories. She filled notebooks with adventures, mysteries, and magical lands. But one evening, something incredible happened. As she finished writing a new story, the words on the page glowed. The next morning, she turned on the news and froze. The exact event she had written had happened in real life. She grabbed her notebook. Could she really write the future? Excited, she tested it. She wrote, "Tomorrow, a rainbow will appear over the school." The next day, despite clear skies, a sudden rain shower came, and a perfect rainbow stretched across the schoolyard. Emma was amazed. But then, a thought hit her. What if she wrote something bad by accident? Nervously, she checked her old stories. One of them was about a storm that lasted for 100 years. What if it came true? Panicking, she grabbed a pen and scribbled out the words. But they wouldn't erase. The letters shifted and reformed. Then, a new sentence appeared beneath her writing. Words are powerful. Use them wisely. Emma took a deep breath. From that day on, she promised herself that she would only write about hope, kindness, and adventure. And the world, little by little, became a better place because of it. Lesson: our words have power, whether spoken or written. We should use them to create good in the world. The Clockmaker's Gift. Milo loved visiting the old clockmaker's shop. It was filled with tick-tocking clocks, spinning gears, and mysterious timepieces that never looked the same twice. But there was one clock he was never allowed to touch. the golden pocket watch in the glass case. One day, as he admired the watch, the clockmaker smiled. "Do you know why this watch is special?" Milo shook his head. The clockmaker leaned in. "Because it lets you change time." Milo's eyes widened. "You mean I can go back in time?" The old man nodded. "But be careful. Time is not meant to be played with." Milo's heart raced. That night, he sneaked into the shop and carefully opened the glass case. As soon as he touched the watch, time froze. He looked around. Everything was still. The birds outside stopped mid-flight. The wind paused. Even the clockmaker, who was asleep in his chair, didn't move. Excited, Milo turned the watch's hands backward. Instantly, he was back in yesterday. He could do anything. He could relive his favorite meals, redo his test at school, or fix every mistake he had made. But the more he changed, the stranger things became. People started forgetting conversations they had had with him. His best friend didn't recognize him. Even his own reflection in the mirror looked wrong. Panicked, Milo rushed back to the shop and put the watch back in the glass case. Time unfroze. The clockmaker opened one eye. "I see you learned your lesson." Milo nodded. Some things are meant to stay the way they are. From that day on, he lived every moment without regrets, because time was best left untouched. The Invisible Island. Lena had always dreamed of being a great explorer, but she never imagined she would discover an island that wasn't on any map. One afternoon, while sailing with her grandfather, she spotted something unusual. A tiny island in the middle of the ocean. It wasn't there the last time they had sailed this way. "Grandpa, look, where did that island come from?" Her grandfather frowned. "That's impossible. There's nothing there." Lena squinted. The island was right in front of her, yet no one else seemed to see it. That night, she borrowed a small boat and paddled toward it. As she got closer, a thick mist surrounded her, and suddenly, she was on the island. The trees were golden, and the air shimmered with magic. Tiny creatures with wings whispered secrets to the wind. A voice called out, "You shouldn't be here." Lena turned to see a woman with silver hair. "Who are you?" "I guard the island of the unseen," the woman said. "It only appears to those who believe in things others do not." Lena's eyes widened. "So that's why Grandpa couldn't see it." The woman nodded. "But now that you've found it, you must promise to keep it secret." Lena smiled. "I promise." The next morning, the island was gone, but Lena knew it was still out there, waiting for the next dreamer who dared to believe. The Boy Who Spoke to the Moon. Ever since he was little, Kai had loved talking to the moon. Every night, he would sit by his window and whisper, "Good night, moon. I hope you're not lonely up there." One night, the moon whispered back. Kai sat up straight. "Did you just talk?" The moon chuckled. "I've been listening to you for years. I thought it was time to answer." Kai grinned. "Are you really up there all alone?" The moon sighed. "Yes, the stars are far away, and the sun only visits for a short time." Kai thought for a moment. "What if I visit you?" The moon laughed. "That would be quite an adventure." The next morning, Kai built a ladder of light in his dreams. Step by step, he climbed higher and higher, past the clouds and into the stars. When he reached the moon, it glowed warmly. "You made it." For the first time, the moon wasn't lonely. They danced in the starlight, shared stories, and watched the earth spin below them. When Kai woke up the next morning, he was back in his bed, but the moon was still shining, brighter than ever. That night, when he whispered good night, Moon, he knew the moon was smiling back. The Library of Unwritten Books. Sophie loved reading, but there was one library she had never seen before. One stormy evening, as she took shelter in a small bookshop, she noticed a hidden door at the back. A sign read, "The Library of Unwritten Books." Curious, she pushed it open and gasped. The room was filled with thousands of books, but none had titles. A librarian looked up. "Welcome. Here, you will find every story that was imagined but never written." Sophie's eyes widened. She picked up a book and flipped through the pages. The words appeared as she read, forming a story that had never been told before. She grabbed another book. This time, it was a story she had once dreamed of writing but never had the courage to start. "Wait," she said. "Does this mean all my ideas are here?" The librarian smiled. "Yes, but ideas mean nothing if they stay unwritten." Sophie looked at the shelves of forgotten stories. She knew what she had to do. She ran home, grabbed a notebook, and finally began writing her own story. The City That Disappeared at Dawn. Elliot always loved waking up early, but one morning, he saw something incredible. An entire city floating in the sky. The buildings were made of glass and silver, and people in golden robes walked the streets. It hovered above the world, hidden in the early morning mist. He grabbed his telescope for a better look. But as soon as the sun rose higher, the city faded into the clouds. The next day, he woke up even earlier and saw the city again. This time, he heard music soft and magical. Elliot had to know more. On the third morning, he climbed the tallest hill in town and called out to the city. "Where do you go when the sun rises?" A voice echoed back. "We only exist before the world wakes up. We are the dreams that people forget." Elliot's heart raced. "Then how can I visit?" The voice whispered. "You must never stop dreaming. As long as you believe, we will always be here." From that day on, Elliot never stopped waking up early, and he never stopped dreaming. The Girl Who Woke Up in a Storybook. Olivia loved reading before bed. Every night, she lost herself in stories about brave heroes, magical creatures, and faraway lands. One evening, she was so tired that she fell asleep with a book open on her chest. When she woke up, she wasn't in her bedroom. She was inside the book. She looked around and saw a castle made of clouds. The sky was painted with golden swirls, and unicorns flew above the trees. "This can't be real," she whispered. A voice behind her said, "It is if you believe it." She turned to see a girl dressed like a knight. "Who are you?" Olivia asked. "I'm the main character," the knight said, "and you must be the lost reader." Before Olivia could respond, a loud roar shook the sky. A shadow spread across the land. A dragon was coming. "You have to help us," the knight said. "Only a reader can rewrite the ending." Olivia hesitated, then took a deep breath. "All right, let's do this." As the dragon flew closer, Olivia imagined a new ending where the dragon wasn't a villain, but a protector of the land. The words formed in her mind, and suddenly, the dragon stopped attacking. Instead, spoke. "I was never here to harm anyone," said. "I was only looking for a friend." The kingdom cheered. As Olivia smiled, the world around her blurred. When she opened her eyes, she was back in her room. The book on her chest had a new final sentence. "And thanks to the reader, they all lived happily ever after." Lesson: Stories have power, and readers have the ability to shape their own worlds. The Magic Paintbrush. Daniel loved to draw, but he always wished his pictures could come to life. One afternoon, he found a strange paintbrush at an old art shop. "This brush is special," the shopkeeper told him. "Be careful what you create." Daniel laughed. "I wish." That evening, he tested the brush. He painted a tiny bird, and to his shock, it fluttered off the page and into the air. Excited, he painted a castle, and it appeared outside his window, shining in the moonlight. Then, he got a wild idea. He painted a dragon. The moment he finished, a loud roar echoed through the sky. The dragon flew out of the painting, its golden wings spreading wide. Daniel panicked. Oh, the dragon wasn't attacking, but it was too big for the town. People screamed as its tail knocked over streetlights. Daniel grabbed his paintbrush. "I have to fix this." He quickly painted a giant forest, giving the dragon a home far away. The moment he finished, the dragon flew toward the forest and disappeared. Daniel sighed in relief. The next morning, he returned the paintbrush to the art shop. "It's too powerful," he said. The shopkeeper smiled. "Ah, you've learned the lesson. True artists don't just create. They take responsibility for their creations." Daniel kept drawing after that, but only with normal brushes. Lesson: creativity is powerful, but it comes with responsibility. The Star Collector. Leo had always been fascinated by the stars. Every night, he looked up at the sky and imagined what it would be like to touch one. One evening, as he sat on his rooftop, he saw a tiny, glowing light fall from the sky. Curious, he climbed down and ran to where it had landed. In the grass, he found a tiny star, no bigger than a pebble. It shimmered in his hands. Then, a voice whispered, "Thank you for finding me." Leo's eyes widened. "You can talk." The star glowed. "I got lost. I need to return to the sky." Leo smiled. "I'll help you." He built a kite with golden strings, and as the wind picked up, he tied the star to the kite and sent it soaring into the sky. As soon as it touched the clouds, the star burst into light, shining brighter than ever. Leo grinned. That night, when he looked at the sky, he saw a new star twinkling just for him. Lesson: kindness, even in small ways, can make the world a little brighter. The Talking Mirror. Sophie never liked mirrors. She always felt like something was watching her. One afternoon, while exploring her grandmother's attic, she found an old mirror covered in dust. When she wiped it clean, a face appeared in the glass. Finally, someone to talk to, the mirror said. Sophie screamed, "Why, you can talk." "Of course," the mirror replied, "and I can tell you the truth about yourself." Sophie hesitated. "The truth?" The mirror nodded. "You always doubt yourself. You think you're not good enough. But I see what you cannot. You are stronger and smarter than you believe." Sophie frowned. "How do you know?" "Because mirrors don't lie," the reflection said. For the first time, Sophie saw herself differently. She didn't look awkward or shy. She looked confident and brave. She smiled. "Thank you." The mirror sparkled. "You don't need me anymore. You just needed to see what was already there." From that day on, Sophie never doubted herself again. Lesson: sometimes, we are our own worst critics. But when we see ourselves clearly, we realize our true potential. The Secret Train Station. Oliver loved trains, but there was one station in town that no one ever used. It was always empty, and no trains ever stopped there. One night, he decided to investigate. He waited near the platform until midnight. Just as the clock struck 12, a golden train appeared out of nowhere. The doors opened, and a voice called out, "Welcome aboard the Dream Express." Oliver stepped inside. The train was filled with people from different worlds, knights, wizards, talking animals, even aliens. "Where does this train go?" he asked. The conductor smiled. "To the dreams of those who dare to believe." Oliver's heart raced. "Can I drive it?" The conductor laughed. "Only if you promise to never stop dreaming." As the train sped through magical lands and endless stars, Oliver knew one thing: he would never stop believing in the impossible. Lesson: imagination can take you anywhere, as long as you never stop believing.